Witchcraft has made its way into mainstream Christianity. When I was a new Christian, I dealt with a lot of witches and pagans, Satanists, warlocks. And as I was a new Christian and dealing with all this spiritual warfare and dealing with these people that were involved in the occult, I had to really start to study to learn about these things. So I started reading Christian books of people who had come out of the occult. It was Pigs in the Parlor. There were a few other books. He Came to Set the Captives Free. And these were books written by people that were involved in the occult and witchcraft, Satanism, and how they came out of those things and kind of exposing the culture within. And one of the things that I was very consistent with witches and pagans and Satanists is this idea of casting spell circles. And what they do is they draw circles, they sit in circles, and they conjure demons within those circles, or they use those circles for quote unquote protection against evil spirits. And that's a very common theme. Well, then I started seeing this Christian book everywhere, The Circle Maker. And right away, it got my attention because of what I had studied about the occult, what I had seen in the occult. Not that I was in the occult, but what I had seen other people practicing. And so I started to study this book, right? And what I realized right away was this is open witchcraft, right? This guy, draws 3 circles in a clockwise direction and says, you need to pray inside this circle until the things you want from God manifest. Well, that's exactly how the witches do it. They draw 3 circles clockwise to cast their spell circles. And in the author's actual words, I was listening to him talk about how this book was inspired. It was inspired by a Jewish mystic who had prayed in a circle. So there was no Christian inspiration for this book. And he says, as he talks about the book, he says, our job is not to make sure that we're inside the will of God, but to cast our circles and pray until God responds and manifests the things that we want. And that is just evil, and it's just blatant witchcraft. Jesus says this in Matthew chapter 6, verse 7. He says, "When ye pray, use not vain repetition as the heathens do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Or be not therefore like them. Your Father knows what things you need before you even ask him." And so our prayer is supposed to be in line with the will of God. Our prayer should be simple. It should not. We don't have to draw circles and cast spells and do these types of things. Now, as a new Christian, the reason I bring this up is as a new Christian, once I got married, my wife kept getting gifted this book over and over again by other Christians, and I kept throwing them away and burning them and doing this and that. And last night, I had another Christian friend of mine reach out and say, "Hey, I remember what you told me about this book, and people keep giving me this book." So I want to warn you, listen, if you're a Christian, get rid of this stuff. This stuff is just paganism repackaged. It's not in the Bible. It's not inside the will of God. We are not our own gods. We do not get to draw circles and manifest the things that we want. We ask God for things that are in line with his will, and he does them. If they're not in line with his will, he doesn't do them. We don't draw circles 3 times and sit inside and pray until God does what we want. He's not a genie in a bottle. That's not how it works. So anyway, I just wanted to warn you guys about that. God bless you. Continue to walk with Jesus. If you want to support what I do here, you can go to my profile page and order my coffee, and I'll ship it to you.